most exhilarating and intense dirt track racing in the world. Immerse yourself in a celebration of the legacy and leader in dirt track open wheel racing at the sprint car capital of the world. Advance tickets to all April through September 2013 events on sale now at KnoxvilleRaceway.com.
Everything that rocks, Lazer 103.3. I am joined in studio by Otherwise, band out of Las Vegas, Nevada. They've been kind enough to share some time with us this afternoon here. I've got the whole band. I've got Adrian, I've got Corky, I've got V, I've got Ryan and Andy. And you know, I'd like to throw it around the room to each of the members and kind of get an idea of where you're coming from musically. Because if there's one thing that I sort of get the impression here is that you guys are coming from many different areas in terms of your background in music. Start with Adrian.
Yeah, well, you know, being a child of the 80s and 90s, you know, a lot of the classic pop stuff, and then of course, you know, the alternative rock when alternative was actually rock, you know, back in the day. We were talking about Prince. My brother and I have been listening to a lot of Prince lately. As far as bands, one of our biggest influences is a guilty pleasure. Also, Third Eye Blind is a big influence on us, especially lyrically. Stephen Jenkins is a poet, so to speak.
Shouldn't be so guilty when they write such great songs.
You know, a lot of our metal head fans out there will be like, Third Eye Blind, come on, give me a break, you know. But it's good stuff, man, and it's, you know, it was a soundtrack to my high school career. So, you know, that's a big one for me. How about you, V?
V?
Well, in my second life, I was a male gigolo, so, you know, you had to be very versed in what you were doing.
Absolutely.
You know, disco was a big influence on me. What do you think, Corky? When you met me dancing, what was I dancing to? Do you remember?
The haze and the aura overtook me so much. I can't remember the audio. I only remember the visual.
I believe it was. Yeah.
You were into dubstep before it was cool, huh?
I made it cool, homie. No, we're all pretty versed. You know what I mean? We like everything. I'm a little bit harder in my edge as far as hard rock, but
I was waiting for that.
I like everything from film fantasy music to jazz and rock, country, everything in between. So it just depends on the mood. You know?
I find bass players in particular, drummers too, to a certain extent, happen to always mention jazz as part of their influence. And I think you can hear a lot of that too when you're hearing certain bass players and certain drummers play. You know that there's a jazz influence there.
You will not be talking about jazz.
No, I will not.
Not today.
I was forced to play jazz in junior high and high school, but I only did it because that's where the girls were in the morning.
Yeah.
I figured it'd be a good idea to not make money.
Yeah, exactly.
So I studied jazz and rock.
Jazz and rock and roll, absolutely. Learned to make the least amount of money in music. Absolutely.
It's funny, radio stations have done that too, to a certain extent. Not made any money doing it, but of course we know the fans of that particular genre are pretty die-hard as it is. But
absolutely.
So anyway, we go from disco and harder edged rock bands to Corky. How about you?
For me, I would say number one's the Beatles. And then I grew up in Seattle for a long time, so everything from, you know, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, that whole era was deeply ingrained in my musical bones.
It's nice to see that a lot of that scene has been sort of rebirthed in a way. I know Pearl Jam's been doing it for several years, but the rebirth of Soundgarden and, of course, Alice in Chains with their new singer,
What's a trip is when when we play these festivals and we're playing the same stages as those bands, it's really, really surreal, you know, is the best word for it. I'm like, wait, I'm playing with Alice in Chains today? How the hell did that happen? Like, I remember watching them play in Seattle opening for Van Halen on their first record. Wow. You know what I mean? Wow. It was epic, and that was like right when I was starting to like, man, music's pretty cool, I'd like to play some drums. And I see, you know, these like hometown heroes at that point in time opening for Van Halen at this arena. I was hooked, you know.
Sean Kinney is a vastly underrated drummer, but you know, a lot of the drummers in the Seattle scene are pretty damn talented. I know Dave Grohl isn't native to Seattle, but spending a lot of time in Nirvana as he did, and now he's of course one of the coolest guys in all of rock.
All of rock and roll,
he's the guy, you know. Who's carrying the torch these days? It's Dave Grohl. So that's you know, that's cool to have those guys to look up to at the time.
Absolutely, and Dave's one of the only people and one of the only, the Foo Fighters and that band, or any band that Dave's playing in for that matter, is one of the only guys in rock and roll we still haven't met. So Dave, call us.
Yeah.
We want to hang out, man.
Wait till you get a load.
We believe.
Wait till you get a load of the new Queens of the Stone Age, by the way.
Yeah.
Just got my copy the other day. It's awesome.
Did he play on that one again?
He did, of course.
Oh, well, I'll be getting that this afternoon then.
Yeah. Might have to borrow you my copy if that's okay.
All right, I like that.
Yeah. How about you, Ryan, as a guitar player? No doubt there are any number of guitarists that influenced you, but who in particular?
I would say the top two bands for me would be Thrice and Incubus. Very interesting guitar players, Tepe and Mike Einzinger, which is like really jazz, like all fusion, hard rock, metal guitar player. We met him actually last year at Rock on the Range, which was like probably my most geeked out moment ever when I met that little wizard.
Nothing sounded like Science when that album came out, by the way.
Not at all, no way. So yeah, Incubus is huge, and just Andy and I, that's what we were jamming last night, right? Thrice?
We were.
Wait, I was pretty drunk, so I kind of remember.
Visu.
Yeah, Thrice is probably one of the most underrated hard rock metal bands
ever.
Yeah, literally ever. They're like so, well versed, and their albums are just crazy.
He said while running around the bus naked last night.
Did I?
Were there any condiments involved?
No condiments.
When there's condiments,
It's all raw, baby. It's just skin. It was just skin.
Somebody's bunk will be full of mayonnaise by the end of the night.
Yeah, Thrice and Incubus. Listen to them.
How about you, Andy?
Well,
he's a new guy. It doesn't matter.
Speaking of Dave Grohl, I did do an eighth grade report on the guy. So Foo Fighters definitely my favorite band.
Very cool.
You went to school?
Unlike you, I graduated.
Oh, very cool. Well, it's nice to see a band come together with so many different backgrounds and influences and tastes and music, and then create this racket that you guys make with Otherwise. And I use the word racket, of course, lovingly. You know that. But to have it all to come together like it did, when you're recording an album and you're writing songs, and people of different backgrounds and genres come in with their 2 cents. Making it all work can be kind of a chore at times, I imagine.
I mean, our process for us, we've been lucky that the process has been fairly smooth. We all contribute, in our own rights. Corky and Andy are very well versed in Pro Tools. My brother and V are well, they're steeped in music theory. I'm really the only uneducated heathen in the band. But the idea is, for the most part, it's been very easy. Once, sometimes we'll take a break or we won't write for a while, and then we'll start. When we do sit down and throw ideas out, it just comes. It just doesn't. It doesn't stop. So, we just let it kind of develop naturally, and it's been smooth, man.
Keep the chemistry going.
Yeah, we're very quick and clear on like, hey man, I don't like that idea. Let's see if we can come up with something else new. And the beauty of it is like, Ryan in particular, we're always coming up with new ideas. It's like, okay, if that one doesn't work, well, then, try this. Well, let's try this. Like, we're not ever stuck on an idea for too long because someone always has, the next option of what we can go to next. So
honesty's pretty important when we're talking family, and that's what this really is.
Yeah, it is, man. And, we're, again, fortunate in the fact that, we're pretty open to trying each other's ideas out, and even if it's like, we'll be honest. We're like, man, I don't really like this idea, but I'm going to do it. So let's do it. Let's try it.
And if it works, it works. And if
then,
it doesn't,
the funny thing is a lot of times it ends up working. And it's like, oh, you know what? That actually works.
Yeah. Well, the beauty of writing with Pro Tools, too, is like if it doesn't work, you're like, okay, well, cool, mute, delete, and we'll put in the next idea there. It's all good.
Otherwise are my special guests in studio, and I can't thank you guys enough for taking some time to hang with us today.
Thank you, Andy.